Yeah, let's go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, top of the morning, the afternoon, and the evening to you, whomever you may be, wherever you may be watching, looking, or listening. It's your boy Anthony Moore, Ant Mo. For those of you who may know for sure, and welcome to the Mind of a Man Network, and specifically, welcome to You Gonna Get These Sports, bruh. You gonna get them. So, listen, let me tell you about You Gonna Get These Sports. We speak for the anti-fanatic. We call it like we see it, and we worry about the consequences on the back end. You feel me? Hot takes are only bad takes if they're wrong. We are loyal to who is loyal to us. And fandom is not given, it is earned. But either way, you're going to get these sports, bruh. You feel me? Welcome, 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 man. Thank you for tuning in. We pray that you do stick and stay. If you are a first-time listener, you come on back round. Hit that subscribe button. We want you to become a part of the Brain Trust. That is the family around here. And if you are a faithful, loyal listener and watcher, I lay from the bottom of this old cortisone, this old beating cortisone of mine. And if you are here, you seen the right thumbnail, kinfolk. Shedeur Sanders. Perfect timing. Dak Prescott. Oh, man, it was almost going to be a bad week for the week. WEAK. So that is what we are getting into tonight. We are going to take a deeper dive into Shedeur Sanders. He was the starter this week against your Oakland Raiders, and your Dallas Cowboys just faced off against your defending champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Turd Birds, whatever you would like to call them. Before we do that, let's get into the comments. Let's see who we got here. We got my boy Connor in the building, dog. He said, "What's up, man?" He early. Hey, man, early. Better late than never. I'm just glad you're in the building with me, my guy. I'm early. And that's cool. That's cool. That's cool, man. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Make sure you share this and make sure you like it because we need the likes, man. It brings people in to have the conversations that we need to have. Connor, there's a few players off your team that I'm looking forward to drafting from the Ohio State Buckeyes. But we will be talking Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns, and we will be talking your Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott, man. What's the fallout from this last game? Yeah, I hate the Cowboys even more after that game. And you got to tell me why, because we not nothing to hate. You feel me? You got to learn to appreciate, my brother. But listen, man, let's get into it before we get into it. First of all, stay around. If you are here for the Cowboys, stick and stay. We starting out with Shedeur Sanders because it's perfect timing. You feel me? If you love him, if you hate him, please let me know in the comments. It is what it is. But Shedeur Sanders finally got his first start with the Cleveland Browns. Dylan Gabriel suffered a concussion last week in the beginning of the third quarter. He goes out. Shedeur Sanders comes out. He waving to the crowd. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. He's waving to the crowd. Hey, let's go. He goes out there 4 for 16. It wasn't anything spectacular, but he also was ill prepared for the game. He had never got first team snaps. And although he had some bright spots, he had some bad spots too. So on this platform, we also aim to keep it real. We're going to keep it funky. We're going to keep it a buck. And so Shedeur, he didn't do what he was supposed to do fully. I mean, he came in with the lead. He left with the loss, but that's how it goes for rookies. So with that being said, let's look at some of the numbers. Now, if you've lived under a rock for some reason and you don't know the outcome of that game, they played the Oakland Raiders. They won 24-10. So he also only gave up 1 sack, which is cool because the issue with Shedeur was said that he drops back. He holds on to the ball too long. That has been truly an issue going back to Colorado. And he's in love with the deep ball. They tried to make the offense real short and quick that first year, but he ended up always keeping those eyes downfield. That's not a bad thing if you got the protection and if you can actually get the ball down the field, but it calls for a lot of cause for concern with what type of pro he was actually going to be. So he had a pick. He had a few bad throws, but what we cannot forget is that he is a rookie. Now, I had a clip. I don't, I can't believe that StreamYard done done it to me like that. But we're going to see if we can't find that clip that I had a whole bunch of stuff loaded up. But this is one of the key factors that we have to take into account. 52 yards, 39 yards, and 66 yards. Last week, 25 yards. What is that? That is the total number of passes, including the 6 quarters of starting as a starting quarterback in the NFL that he's done. 4 passes of 20 yards or more Shedeur has actually done. Now, one of those passes to Jerry Jeudy, he actually fumbled, which was 39 yards. But I repeat, 52 yards that set him up for that first touchdown. 39 yards that Jerry Jeudy jumps up in the air, gets the ball fumbled out. And then 66 yards, which was his touchdown to Sampson, the running back coming out of the backfield. Last week against the Baltimore Ravens, he had a 25-yard touchdown. Now, why is that important? Because Joe Flacco, in 4 starts, had 5 of those. So 4 starts, and the guy who was proclaimed to be the starters from the beginning of the season, the veteran, the big arm, the one that threw all those deep balls in Baltimore, had 5 passes of 20 yards or more in 4 starts. Dylan Gabriel, 7 starts. Anybody want to guess how many passes that he's had over 20 yards in 7 starts? Anybody? And I'm willing to bet if you don't Google it that you won't get it. So while I'm waiting on some responses, I'm going to go ahead and finish looking at these comments. I am going to start focusing more on getting through the show prep. So my people who are in the comments, I appreciate you. But if anybody wants to get the comment used with priority, please, by all means, do the super chats, and I will make sure to make those a priority. So my boy kind of said, like who? Laugh out loud, the whole roster. Hey, Miss Reese in the building. What's the deal, Miss Reese? I'm here for Shedeur. Okay, cool. No hate here. It really was really perfect timing. For sure. I just bust down my AP. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, okay. So here's my question that I posed here. Now, does he actually have arm talent? Because the thing from the pundits, all the people who talk, because we know what we've seen, right? We know what we've seen from the media. Everything that was stated was that Shedeur didn't have arm talent. That Shedeur, he didn't have the strength to get the ball down the field. Like he was just a scrub the majority of his college career, his high school career, like he wasn't sent offers by Alabama and teams of that and teams like that in college. This guy, if it wasn't for following his dad, would have had every opportunity to be great, period. His tape spoke for itself. So to the Rex Ryans of the world and all of these people who had so much to say about who he was and how he performed, does he have the arm talent now? That's the question. Because here's what I want to point out to you guys. Cam Ward, the #1 draft pick, been a starter all season. Anybody want to guess how many wins he has? What is his record? 1-10. He's been given the keys. He had a full off season. He's worked with his receivers. They've gotten rid of an offensive coordinator. I have nothing against Cam Ward. I'm just not so sure he's that much better than Shedeur Sanders. He's 1-10. They got the same amount of wins. Shedeur has 1 start. He has 1 win. Now, I will be honest, and I will preface it by saying I understand that it was against the decrepit Oakland Raiders. I am fully aware of that. I'm not going to make any excuses for it. It was the Raiders. But we cannot control who we play against, who we start against. Speaking we as an athlete, a quarterback, whoever it is your job to perform. Point blank, period. Yes, he has one of the greatest pass rushers that we have known for a generation. He's a generational talent in Myles Garrett. He has a really good defense. That same defense has gotten blown out numerous times. So we can't use, oh, it was Oakland. Oh, he has a great defense. None of that stuff is proven to be true. They are aligning to have one of the top couple picks in the draft yet again. So we have to be real about what we're actually watching from Shedeur Sanders, what we are getting from this team, and does he actually have that it factor? So being analyzed of not being a team guy, not being supportive. Some of these things are going to have to start going by the wayside. We have to stop believing what the media has put out there about Shedeur Sanders, period. Because the reality is, he actually openly came out and talked about how he never wants Dylan Gabriel to not feel like he can be comfortable or do his job at a high level because of the people who love and support Shedeur, who believes that he's a better quarterback and want to give him a chance to be on the field. Who do you know who openly comes out and says things like that? He's actually a good kid. He's actually a talented kid. He was raised right. Some of these things we'll actually get into and talk about at a later time. But the reality is, he hasn't been given a fair shake in the NFL. Now, I'm not here to beat you down about it, but I got some more questions. Oh, I'm sorry, and I didn't take the comments down. I apologize. All right, we need prayers for our brothers and sisters affected by raids by the Muslims in Nigeria. For sure. I'm not negating that. We are talking football though. But you are correct, brother. I don't want to ever make light of what you're saying. That is important. Jackson Smith and Jigba is insane. Absolutely. We will be getting into some CD Lamb talk, some George Pickens talk as well later in the show. So like I said, please stick and stay, because we got to start having a conversation about who's actually the best receiver on this team. And I'm not saying that it matters in the grand scheme of things, but there is a pecking order now. Hey, I spelled that wrong. It was supposed to say, it's fine, brother. I get what you was trying to do there. But okay, so for those of you who have been watching this, right? We've been watching Shedeur Sanders. We watched his interviews. We've watched, we've seen the pregame interviews. And I do apologize. I had pictures and I had a video for us to watch. For whatever the reason, it is not showing up. I do believe that I can get that video to play. So please bear with me. But here's my question to you who are watching. Is Shedeur Sanders shown himself to be a diva? Has he shown himself to not be respectful? Has he shown himself to not be a team player? Does he, in fact, not have arm strength? And, and is he underprepared? Those are questions that it's important to ask yourself when we start talking about what we've actually seen on the field from him thus far. Here's what I came to the conclusion of. And it's a fancy saying. It's something that we've heard for a long time here for those of you who may know, but you believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. The reality is, going back to college and even going back to high school, I actually worked in an event for one of my brothers who had started a security company. This was some years ago when he was still at like Trinity. They had a high school event. They had their prime at this place over in I forgot the name of the city, but it's a little past Mansfield. And I had a brief encounter with the kid. He was super respectful. Super respectful. Here's the thing. For those people who may be watching and thinking that it's a little biased, I would be lying to you if I didn't say there was a smidge of bias. But here's the reality. These are good kids. They were raised well. And if first impressions make a difference, he made a hell of a good impression, even on me as a high school kid. Very respectful, spoke before he was spoken to, didn't try to buck the system, didn't try to say, do you know who I am? Do you know who my daddy is? All those things matter. And if we really look at it, he's always been that type of kid. Don't let my confidence be mistaken for cockiness, or don't let who I am offend you. That was to the effect of what his dad said. I ain't quoting it verbatim, but that's the reality, man. People are not comfortable in their own skin. And when that happens, you're given a bunch of titles and a bunch of things are said about you that don't always prove themselves to be true. The reality is this, even for myself, I'm a person that has had to learn how to have confidence. As a kid, I had to learn to have confidence because I didn't have nobody telling me, you're good at this, you're going to be this, I believe this to be true about you. He had that, and it's perfectly fine. They stated that he was studying while he was having lunch because he understood the importance and the magnitude of what it meant to be prepared. He had a week to prove himself. That's it. So the fact that he was seen everywhere studying film says a lot. The fact that he had time to at least take reps with the ones, you got to think about this. There are OTAs, there are mini camps, there's training camp. All that time, the quarterback has the time to do the work with his receivers, the running backs, learning how they go in and out of their breaks, run routes, receive hand off to the running back, all type of things. Do private workouts where y'all just go and throw and catch. He had no opportunity to do all those things. And for some reason, Shedeur Sanders still has found a way to execute. What I am still yet so surprised about is if you go to the comments and you watch the things that he says, the way that he carries himself, there's still a large metrics of hate for this kid. And if you are watching, please do me a favor and tell me why there is such vitriol and seeming hate for a kid who is simply displaying confidence. When Tom Brady steps out on the field and he believes what he believes about himself and he tells people what to do when he was a starter in this league, nobody had anything to say. When he yells at people, when he slams the tablets and the pads and all of that stuff, nobody has anything to say about it. But when other players do the exact same thing, if you've been a player, if you've been a fan of the Dallas Cowboys like I have, and you watch Dez express himself on the sideline, people always assume the worst. They didn't know if he was encouraging people. They didn't know if he was taking accountability for what he said. They just assumed that he was doing something that was negative. Yet we've not seen Shedeur Sanders do anything but stand on the sidelines and be a supportive teammate. They said he's leaned heavily on Deshaun Watson. He's talked to the coaches over and over again because this is a guy who knows he has to maximize his opportunity. If y'all will give me but 2 seconds, let me pull up this video so that y'all can see the video that I have for you. It is a clip that people have a lot of issues about, and we are going to pull this video up and go from there. Give me 1 second. Here we go.
And these Browns fans with their play today. Shedeur, you told us this week felt like you were getting back to normal, being a starting quarterback, like you have your whole career. But this is going to be your first NFL start. What is that all like in this moment?
Let me know in the comments if y'all can actually hear the video.
We cool, calm, collective like.
Now, I don't know about y'all. And I'm going to keep it a bean. I'm going to keep it a stack million with y'all. I appreciate y'all for working with me. I didn't know if I needed to switch up the sound on there to make sure y'all can hear from my MacBook. But I don't understand, and please bear with me here, y'all. I really want somebody to let me know in the comments. If you do have an issue with Shedeur, please tell me why. If you don't, can you explain to me why you think people have an issue with him? They started the interview off there really quick in the pregame. He's the starter for the first time, and the lady is asking him how he feels, and he's like, I'm excited, whatever, but this ain't nothing to us. You know what I want, and you know what I would appreciate as a person. It's like a doctor doing surgery. Do you want me to come in there and say, hey, listen, don't need to be worried. I've done this 1,000 times. Hey, I've done 100 surgeries. Success rate is 98, 99%. This, whatever. Or would you want me to come in there and say, geez, I just pray that I could do better. Hopefully it goes well. It's like, no, that's not reality, my boy. I want to believe that I am the best and that I am the person, like Shedeur said, that I'm the one they've been looking for. That clip says everything. I want my quarterback, my receiver, my tight end, my running back, my lineman. I want my coach to believe that I'm supposed to be here. So all I'm saying, y'all, is can we give the kids some slack? It's not cockiness. It's not arrogance. It's confidence. I believe that I was supposed to be here. I've been trained by Tom Brady my entire career, or for a large portion of it. My daddy is the best the best corner to ever play the game. There was a lot of vibrato. Ooh, why was that word so hard? A lot of vibrato coming from him because he believes he is who he says he is. So at the end of the day, you can feel how you want to feel, but don't allow how he feels about himself, because The thing that I never understand about people in them feeling like somebody is cocky or arrogant or whatever it is, let people feel how they feel. Don't say something directly to me to try to impact how I feel about myself. As a quarterback in the NFL, do you know how hard that job is? You're responsible for calling and dictating the entire offense. If something goes wrong, you get all the praise. I mean, if something goes right, you get all the praise. If it goes wrong, you're the blame. Period. No, if Shedeur goes out there and has another 4 for 16, a pick, no touchdowns, he never gets to start in the NFL again for that team. There's just an expectation that we got to realize is real for this kid. The hate is real, but the love is realer. The comments are riddled with people who have never done anything well and who don't have confidence in themselves, and it shows. Cocky much? I'm like, I don't understand, bruh. I really don't. So, as a result of this, what's the fallout for him? He is gifted to be a starter again. He gets to play against the 49ers, the San Francisco 49ers. Coach Stefaski stated previously that Dillon Gabriel was the guy. If he's healthy, he's the guy. So now Dillon Gabriel is now coming off of the concussion protocol list, and he will now be bagging up Shedeur Sanders. I hate to break it to y'all. Dillon Gabriel is not a starter in the NFL. He's a small guy. He doesn't have a big arm. That's what's so interesting. He doesn't have but one completion down the field of 20 yards or more. He doesn't even attempt to throw the ball down the field 20 yards or more. He doesn't have great escapability. What I said from the beginning about Dillon Gabriel and my looking at him in preseason and all of that was that he's great at timing. He's good at 1, 2, 3, find your read, get the ball out. That's what he does. But here's the reality. They don't have good receivers. Did you see Jerry Jeudy? First of all, he's terrible at catching the ball as a receiver. He drops a lot of balls. One of the first balls that Shedeur completed to him last week, he was fumbling it before he actually brought it in. The jumping in the air, getting the ball knocked out, you're not dealing with a bunch of greatness over there, if we're being honest. Fannin, the tight end, is one of the better options. And then you got Quinshon Judkins and you got Sampson, the running backs. This team needs a lot of help. But what you want to see from your quarterback is an ability to go out there and not be afraid to throw the ball down the field. Shedeur loves to push the ball down the field. You want that from your quarterback. If you want any chance to win in the NFL, if you want to put points up, you got to stretch defenses. Otherwise, they're going to cover 2 and shell you to death and never worry about you throwing the ball down the field, as we saw from Dillon Gabriel. I'm sorry to tell you, but barring and Lord forbid any injuries, Dillon Gabriel won't see the field again. He shouldn't. The numbers are very pedestrian. And you can probably add in about 8 to 10 more passes that he's had since he's been a starter. He was given the keys to the franchise, y'all. He just didn't know how to drive the boat. I'm sorry. It just is what it is. So let me say this before we move on to the Dallas Cowboys, because we will be talking Cowboys here. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Make sure you hit the like. Make sure you subscribe and check and come, because we got plenty of good content over here at the Mind of a Man Network. Here is my final thoughts on this. And if you have some comments, please let me know. But this is the reality. Shedeur Sanders is not what was made out to be of him by the media. That's number one. He exudes confidence because he was raised to believe in himself, and that he's made to be in those moments. That's the reality. He's not a 5th round starter. He's not a 5th rounder. He is a 1st round draft pick in this league. You would have to show me a starter. You would have to show me a starter that's a rookie this year that is dominating or that is doing better than Cam Ward, that is doing better than what we saw from Dillon Gabriel, than what we've seen from Shedeur Sanders. I can't name you a quarterback. the reality is he's looking just the same, if not a little bit better than the guys that he's playing, that are his counterparts. Shedeur Sanders is a starter in this league, and he's going to show you moving forward. The people, once again, the pundits saying, Rex Ryan, who, you go back and forth about what you actually believe about the kid. Shut up and get in the film room. Okay, he was in the film room. He's never got a chance to take any snaps or reps with the second team, with the first team. Here's the reality, right? For anybody who says, yeah, well, fifth rounders don't play with that. That's not true. If you're the backup, doesn't matter what round you're drafted in. Anything can happen to the starter. Anything. Hence, Dylan Gabriel gets a concussion and he's out. Now Shedeur is playing with guys that I could go out on the street and say, 1, 2, 3, running back. All right, let me throw the ball to you. You got an opportunity to play with these guys and you don't do it. So now Rex Ryan doesn't like his post-game comments and says, make it us and we. Give everybody else the credit, take the blame for anything that's done wrong. It's nothing wrong with that, guys. I'm not saying that anything is wrong with that. But the reality is you can't scrutinize this kid for everything. When he doesn't say anything and he's miming or whatever, then you say, oh, you need to grow up. Listen. Anything that I say, if I'm him, is going to be scrutinized when I believe that I should be the starter of this team. I'm going to support whatever Dylan does, but I still have to go out there and believe that I'm supposed to be here. So anyway, it is what it is, man. We move on now and we get into some Cowboy talk. I gotta be honest with you guys. It feels good. And I make this comment later on in the broadcast about drinking the Kool-Aid, but listen, the Cowboys pull stuff out of me that I wish they didn't. Pause. Because they get us believing again. They get us believing and hoping. But I'll get there because I don't want to put the cart before the horse. But Dak Prescott, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Quinnen Williams, Siobhan Ravel, your Dallas Cowboys, they took on the defending champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, in which, and let me make sure that the sounds, never mind. I want to do some clapping, but we gonna move on. In which they actually won the game 24-21, scoring 24 unanswered. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. We gotta get these sounds right because I gotta show some love to my Cowboys, dog. Make it a little louder for the haters. We gotta show some love to the Dallas Cowboys, dog. We got it done. Sorry, if you a hater, keep hating. I can't help it, dog. I try to be unbiased, but we the most unbiased biased show you ever watch because what we like, you gonna know we like it. And what we don't like, we're gonna be honest about it. We're gonna tell you. I am very, very impressed with what I seen from my Dallas Cowboys yesterday. 24 unanswered points. The Eagles come out like a rushing wind. They come like a roaring lion. Not that they are one. They like the enemy, man. They come like a roaring lion, seeking whom they shall devour. Jalen Hurts he's throwing the ball around the yard, and they go up 21-0. The Cowboys were not without their mistakes, of course, but let's just look at what Dak Prescott did for your Dallas Cowboys yesterday. 23 of 36, 2 tutties thrown, 1 to George Pickens, 1 to Brevin Spann Ford. He had a rushing touchdown. My boy went over the top like he ain't did in a long time. And of course, he had 1 interception. Let's talk about the people who have reshaped how we look at this team as a whole and the defense more specifically, the names that have the most direct impact on the Dallas Cowboys on the defensive end. We got Quinnen Williams, folks. DeMarvion Overshown. Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson. Logan Wilson. We almost there. Just be patient, dog. Kalen Carson. And last but not least, Siobhan Ravel. We just giving love where love is due. They have turned around how we view this defense. Now, does that mean that they're without hiccups and issues? Absolutely not. Should we be careful? Because it doesn't get any easier for your Dallas Cowboys over the next couple weeks. This week in particular, Turkey Day, we have an issue on our hands. No, we shouldn't. But let's be real about let's just take a moment to take in what we just saw, right? That defense, and let me say this, and it may be a point that I put down later in the comments, but I have to say this. That team, well, let me say this. That game was incredibly losable. Forget being winnable. Even the question field goal, even though we've just seen that Brandon Aubrey missed a field goal earlier in the game, I'm not saying that you don't keep your hope in him, but the reality is we're always looking to be on the offensive as an offense. We should never be relegating ourselves to just hoping that we can have Brandon Aubrey kick a field goal. Where is this AI thing coming from? No, this isn't AI. Where do y'all be getting that from? No, this isn't AI, my brother. If that's a real question, I would love to know where you're getting that from. What? Because maybe that's a bot. And if it ain't a bot, then make sure you like and subscribe, my brother. I appreciate it. Luke Moritz said, hi, how you doing? I appreciate you. Thank you for letting me know that it was coming through loud and clear. Ma'am. So, yes. Yeah, I don't know what that is. It might be a bot. But anyway, this game was incredibly losable by your Dallas Cowboys. There was a bunch of things that we didn't do. The reality is we should have beat these guys by 2 touchdowns. I mean, it is what it is. When you look at a terrible pick by Dak Prescott, horrendous pick by Dak Prescott, and that is the thing that normally happens with him. And then you have a fumble by Kevontae Turpin, who should not get a handoff or a toss in the backfield ever again. CeeDee Lamb did it. He has a high ankle sprain, and he's out for 3 to 4 weeks. Kevontae Turpin gets one, and he fumbles. He butt fumbles, dang near butt fumbles off of the lineman. We got to stop that, man. Stop those type of trick plays. I'm not mad at you formulating pick plays and all of that type of stuff, finding ways to get the tight end and your fullback the ball, but the Kevontae Turpin experience should just go away. That's what I will say initially. Continued slow starts by your offense. I don't know what it is. It's like against the good teams, even if we're fighting firepower with firepower, we always find a way. And this has nothing to do with Shoddy here. This is going back to Mike McCarthy even. Now we can see what the common denominator is a lot of the time, and it's looking like it's maybe Dak Prescott, might be the offensive line, but for whatever the reason, we are struggling mightily. We are struggling to find some semblance of coming out with a good run game, utilizing the offense in some type of way where we can do the play action with the run game. Shout out to Javonte Williams, who had a really good game running against a team. This is what we got to also realize here, guys. This defense has held top-tier Detroit Lions and, Green Bay Packers to under 16 points. This defense is not to be trifled with, regardless of what you could think about the offense. So for them to go essentially to have a lead and then to tell that defense to pin their ears back and get after Dak Prescott, for us to, number one, defensively play like there's fire behind our butt, and to actually go out there and move the ball to the tune of 350 something yards with of course a couple of drops and fumbles going in there, you're looking at putting up 400 yards against that top 3 defense in the NFL. Shout out to Vach Lombardi. I ain't gonna lie, I've been rocking with him in the content tough lately. and he's gave me some of these thoughts, that to kind of expound upon. But we are supposed to beat this team twice. I hate to break it to y'all. You can call us homers, you can say what you want to say, but your Dallas Cowboys should have went out there and absolutely ruined opening night for the defending champions, your Philadelphia Eagles. But yet again, drop balls have put us in precarious situations with a far less defense than what we actually started with. And somehow we've always seemed to answer the bell. It's a division game. We all know you should never take division opponents lightly. So even if we were to run the table, you start looking at playing Washington again, you start looking at playing the Giants again at their house, that's not something that we should take lightly. So A.J. Brown off to a hot start, had 100 yards, 10 catches, a touchdown. Listen, they gave us everything that we could handle on defense that night. Your Cowboys showed a lot of resolve. That is a game that in the past, Dak looks good losing after getting us into a hole. If you look at any playoff game, Dak Prescott has a MO. And that's why I'm most impressed with what I saw yesterday. Because typically against playoff quality opponents, Dak Prescott is going to find a way to give you the ball. He's going to find a way to turn the ball over. 2 picks, one of them will be a pick 6, or he'll fumble the ball. We go into halftime, we down 17-3, 20-21-0, and then we the little engine ourselves to make the game close late, and then we lose the game. That is literally the MO of what Dak does. When the pressure gets high, Dak Prescott usually shrinks. 10 years in the NFL. Let's not forget this. 4th round draft pick. Romo gets hurt in Seattle. The rest is history for Dak. But the history of him, 2 games in the playoffs against Green Bay, 2 games in the playoffs against your San Francisco 49ers, Dak Prescott typically finds a way to shrink. This ain't the playoffs, but it is the defending champions. And Dak Prescott literally had us in both of these games and was not the reason that we would have lost those games, even with the bad pick. Because he didn't drop the balls. He didn't fumble the ball. So I got to give major love to a guy that a lot of people have counted out, raising my hand, because not only am I the client, I'm the president. I have been one that said I don't believe in Dak Prescott. When that $60 million option was on the table, I said, well, let him walk, give him an opportunity. Give us an opportunity to really tank, and let's see who we can go get. Maybe we get Shedeur Sanders. That didn't happen. Would I still rather have Shedeur Sanders? We don't got to talk about it. But I do like what I have seen from one Rain Dakota Prescott. Let's move over to the receivers here, shall we? George Pickens. Y'all want to hear this stat line? 9 targets. 9 receptions, 146 yards, and a touchdown to boot. Ski mask up, YN in the building. He gets it done. I no longer want to argue with people about who the offense should run through when it comes to passing the ball. Now in my mind, I say if we actually gave George Pickens the ball consistently in that first game, even though I know he was trying to still figure stuff out with Dak Prescott, shout out to whoever that was that did subscribe. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining the Brain Trust. I appreciate you. One more to the good over here. I appreciate you. Make sure you hit the like. But if you target George Pickens, even and not even really building a huge rapport with him in the first game, I'm going to be honest, I've not seen him drop the ball. George Pickens is an absolute dog. And it's not to make little of Cedarius Lamb. Because if you do, you're starting to forget where this team was when Amari Cooper was the number 1 guy and he was body catcher Bobby. and he had to play second fiddle to that guy. We had nobody. And CD played the role magnificently. Being the lead guy, going into San Francisco, he showed up big. 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards receiving in the playoffs. I'm not saying he's not a dog. I'm not saying he's not a great receiver. I'm saying he's not George Pickens, though. That is saying a lot. Because if you are a true fan and you actually watch the games, you would realize that's one of your better offensive players on this team, one of your better players on the team, period. But Shedeur Lamb has a problem with, I don't know if it's just he goes aloof in games and he taps out, or if it's not him not getting involved. He drops the ball a lot. He's now got like 7 drops for the season. That's unacceptable when he's missed 3 or 4 games with an injury. For most receivers in the NFL, if the ball is catchable, you shouldn't have 7 to 10 drops in a season. If the ball is truly catchable, he has 7 already, and he didn't play in 3 or 4 games. It's unacceptable. And we have to start, I hope, and this is my hope, is that he's taking accountability for the things that he's done. We got a Philly fan in here. Congratulations, your Cowboys won their Super Bowl against my Eagles. Incorrect, my brother. West Philly Black, incorrect. I'll be honest with you. We don't have Philadelphia week. We don't have Washington Commanders week here. You guys are not that important to us outside of being a division opponent. But y'all have Cowboy week. Y'all have videos of little kids punching bags with Dak, with George Pickens, with CeeDee Lamb, with Javonte Williams, with Kevontae Turpin, with is it Jeff Ferguson? Whatever. Jake Ferguson, with Jake Ferguson's face on it, just to take a L. We don't care about y'all like y'all care about us. It's still important to y'all that y'all beat the Dallas Cowboys. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Congratulations, though. You have a great franchise. Howie Laurie, or whatever his name is, he is a great GM. Well-run organization. Your quarterback is fraudulent, though. Hold on. That's your quarterback. There's something behind that fart. I hate to break it to you. Y'all are more successful when he throws for less than 200 yards and you run your running back into the ground. Saquon, I seen a fan mad because y'all had more passing yards, not realizing that a part of Saquon's demise is you ran him into the ground last year. It's a formula that works, but it doesn't work long term. You miss out on a talent like Saquon Barkley having longevity because you can't find a way to get your quarterback to look past his first read. Jalen Hurts is a consummate professional. He's a good guy. He ain't a great quarterback. He can lift the same as Saquon. He can probably be a great example, but he's not a great quarterback. Doesn't have an howitzer for an arm or whatever gun you want to use. He cool. But what he is, and I've said this before, and we can move right along. I just got to put you in your place real quick. But what he is one of the best in the game at situational football. The Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs, they are the best in the business at situational football. Jalen Hurts knowing when to drop back and then go for the QB draw, how to get in between to where it was almost a sack, but he gets 5 or 6 yards out of it. They are the best at that. That's why they've been successful. Not because of the arm of Jalen Hurts. It's the legs and the brain to know when. He hasn't evolved as a passer. He throws a really good deep ball. But that's all I got for you. And if the pressure comes, he's not going to be accurate. So I hate to break that to you, and there's no disrespect to you. I appreciate you, Philly fan, but it's not a Super Bowl for us. We got bigger fish to fry. If you think for a second we're drinking Kool-Aid because we beat y'all and y'all won the Super Bowl last year, you got another thing coming. We got the team that y'all beat coming up this week. It's a turnaround, my brother. We don't care. It is what it is. But y'all think y'all are more important than you actually are. So I move on. Like I was saying, George Pickens, who dogged y'all out yesterday, hurt his leg in some capacity, whether that was knee or ankle, knee or calf, and still found a way to come out there when y'all should have known the ball was coming his way. Hit you with a slant. He's a dog. It is what it is. Now let's look at CD Lamb's numbers. And I say everything that I've said about how great he's been in the league. 1,700 yards. Was it last year? Listen, this guy he's an elite receiver in this league. He was clearly a top 10 receiver before this year. I'm not even here to argue that with anybody. But he's creating a problem of his own doing if he doesn't learn to hold on to that ball, to catch the balls that are thrown his way. Shedeur Lamb, 11 targets yesterday, only 4 receptions. One of them was a 50 or 52-yard ball that we caught. One of the guys jumping off sides, Dak hurls it up. Great adjustment in the air to catch the ball. He went from one shoulder to the other to turn around and catch it. And even then, he had to corral it. He's dealing with the confidence thing, whether it is being in his own head all the time anyway, whether that is him dealing with the reality that George Pickens may be a little more reliable, a little more talented, whatever that may be. It's not that I think he wants George Pickens to do bad. I think he wants to keep up with how great George is doing. And he ends up being the reason that it doesn't happen, because if you catch the ball, your numbers are comparable. You actually got more targets. That speaks to another thing, though. We have to stop forcing him the ball to get him going or to raise his confidence. We have to play within the flow of the offense. Dak almost threw 2 picks, maybe even 3, trying to force the ball to Shedeur Lamb. That has to stop. And I mean, it has to stop. Not now, but right now. Move the ball around. If we gotta give George 2 more passes because it's effective and we win the game, who cares who had more catches, more yards, more touchdowns? As long as we win the game. And seeing him on the sidelines doing the same old, come on, I can't believe it, or he's holding me. I don't want to hear excuses. We got to learn how to accept the reality and perform. CD, love you like a play cousin. You got to catch the ball, my boy. You got to get out your head, and you got to perform. All right. So he had 75 yards receiving as well, and a drop ball in the end zone. I don't have anything for you, man. That's the crazy part, is if he catches those 4 balls, he's over 100 yards and he has a touchdown. He's just as comparable if he executes. Just get out your head, CD, man. We really need you to be tapped in, because it's only going to get harder. Somebody's going to find a way to bracket George, and we're going to need you to come alive. Trust me. What's the fallout from this win? What is the fallout? Well, clearly our playoff hopes are still alive. At 5-5-1, it shouldn't be taken for granted that this team has found a way to put 2 wins together. It is not hard. It is not easy to win in the NFL. Say what you want to say. Let's celebrate that this team has found a way to string together 2 wins. Not everybody believed that the Cowboys were going to win this game, period. It was looking pretty glim, doom and gloom for a large portion of that game. But what we heard was that Quinnen Williams found a way to inspire that defense, as well as the reality of, people still remembering Marshawn Nealon and his contributions. He's going to be a key contributor in spirit to this team, the belief, the mindset that he's still here finding a way to impact this team. I'm not here to get into the minutia of that, but that, we see the flags waving, we see the towels. It's still a very emotional thing. You don't just get over the death of somebody in a week or two. If you are, you're pretty insane. But apparently Quinnen Williams was talking about how he loved being in this position because he wants to go eat. He wants to hunt what he eats. That it ain't nothing given, and you got to go take it. And in the offense hearing that, it inspired them. Here's the reality. This is not an easy game to play. The NFL is hard. And your Dallas Cowboys found a way. Now, that win is over. There's no more celebrating that. It's time to move on. We have the Kansas City Chiefs coming in, who found a way to win the game in overtime yesterday. Some would say that could be a momentum builder, actually getting a W. Their playoff hopes are on the line. Some would say if they lose this game, they are out of playoff contention. They won't find a way to dig themselves out of the hole to be able to keep up with the division leaders and the people that are actually in the wild card hunt. You look at a team like Jacksonville, who found a way to pull out a win yesterday. It is what it is. And as a matter of fact, let me pull up ESPN and let me look at what they're actually looking like in playoff contention, and then we'll actually see. And for those of you who are wondering, San Francisco 49ers are actually beating your Carolina Panthers right now. There was a debate on if we want Carolina to lose or San Francisco to lose. I don't really care. I believe that as long as you win, and you win a lot more than you lose, that you have a chance to actually still make the playoffs for your Dallas Cowboys. But if we look at your Kansas City Chiefs, yesterday, like I said, they found a way to pull out a win against the Colts in overtime. Which, how do you feel about that if you're the Colts? Because you were all looking like you're going to be one of the ones who is going to go represent the AFC in the championship game and go to the Super Bowl. You just took an L to a team that's reeling, and your Kansas City Chiefs. They're now 6-5. Now, if I go quickly and I look at the standings in the AFC, your Chiefs are third behind. They're a game behind the Chargers, and of course your Denver Broncos are 9-2. You're not catching them. I'm gonna be honest. Looking at the layout, it's not that's actually overdone. If I'm being honest, right now the Chiefs are 10th. They're behind Houston and Pittsburgh, so they're at number 10 right now. And we're gonna move on from this quickly. I'm just looking to see. Of course they're champions, so they're gonna find a way to play with urgency here. But you have New England, Denver, you have the Colts, you have Baltimore. Those are all your division leaders. And then you have your Chargers, you have Jacksonville, you have Buffalo, you have Pittsburgh, you have Houston. So essentially you're looking for Houston and Pittsburgh to go on some type of losing streak. But I tell you what, a loss to the Cowboys doesn't help your chances. And that's just the reality. So moving on. It is what it is. Do I believe that we really have a chance to win this game? If I'm being honest, and if I go into what I said about your Philadelphia Eagles, the same thing I said about the Chiefs, you're looking at a team, first of all, unlike the Philadelphia Eagles, who have a horrible coach in Nick Sirianni, he just is the best at maneuvering through that toxicity. He leads the charge with it, and that's what still makes all of that stuff work. He's gritty, he's foul-mouthed, he fits in with that culture over there. But when we start looking at Patrick Mahomes, he's been to the AFC Championship every year he's been a starter. When we look at Andy Reid, who has won multiple championships, one of the greatest offensive minds, probably the greatest coach that we've ever known, not Bill Belichick, sorry. Bill Belichick had no emphasis on the offense. That was Josh McDaniels. You start looking at Andy Reid, you got to kiss that ring. I'm sorry. But the reality is, this is going to be a well-coached team. This is going to be a team that is listen, they've lost to good teams, but they find a way to win. We not historically bad against the Chiefs. We're not historically great against the Chiefs. It's a toss-up, if I'm being honest. But the Cowboys absolutely, after beating the Eagles on a short week, same thing with your Kansas City Chiefs. They actually played longer because they went to overtime, but I call it a pick'em game. It's a pick'em game. Of course, at quarterback, the edge goes to Patrick Mahomes. At coaching, the edge goes to Andy Reid. But if I'm being honest, I would say that if looking at this last game against the Philadelphia Eagles, they would probably say the same thing, that the edge went to Nick Sirianni, that the edge went to Jalen Hurts, the edge went to Saquon Barkley, the edge went to they would have said we have the best receiving core. But the edge would probably go to Dallas Goedert versus going to Jake Ferguson. What about on defense? I don't think that defense is as great as the Philadelphia Eagles, not a top 3 defense. But I'm really starting to believe here. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I ain't going to sugarcoat it. I'm just going to keep it real with you. And anybody who has watched my channel long enough knows I am a realist. I'm a realist. I believe we were actually going to beat the Eagles by 2 touchdowns because now with that new made defense that we talked about at the beginning of talking about the Cowboys today, they have presented a real problem. Here's a stat for you. Quinnen Williams had a career high 8 pressures in that game. 26% of the time he was getting pressure on the quarterback. He's a problem, and it was one-on-one. That ain't wise. So, do I believe? Yes. Do we have a shot? I would say yes. Is it going to happen? I tell you what, the Dallas Cowboys pull out a win this Thursday. Oh, we got a big problem on our hands, NFL. Because we are actually starting to learn how to win. This is the interesting thing about having a quarterback that you've had for 10 years now, having 2 top-tier receivers and all of those things, a rookie coach. This franchise has been given a lot of love over the years that was unwarranted. Some people would even argue if you win the game, you're 6-5-1. What does that matter? It is not just that you win. It is how you win. And this team is figuring out how to win. Not every game is going to be pretty. You're not going to have a schedule full of Oakland Raider games. You're not going to have a schedule full of Cleveland Browns before Shedeur Sanders games. It's not going to happen. So mistakes are going to happen. Picks are going to happen. Fumbles are going to happen. Penalties are going to happen. What I'm more impressed by is that we found a way to win the game for once. Because in the middle, it was a little shaky. In the middle, it was looking a little, I called it on Facebook. I said, hey, congratulations, y'all fought. Y'all stayed in the game. Now we get to get our hearts broken again. Your Dallas Cowboys found a way to persevere. So we got Kansas City on Turkey Day. I'm going to go out on a limb. Call it homerism. It's fine. I think the Cowboys find a way to squeak out a win to the tune of something like 20-17. Here's the reality. The Kansas City Chiefs don't have a solid, sustainable run game. Here's what we've done in 2 games with Quinnen Williams and without Quinnen Williams. We found a way to nullify the Philadelphia Eagles run game. Philadelphia, the first game, Jalen Hurts has 2 rushing touchdowns. Doesn't sniff the opportunity to run the ball in as a quarterback in that game because the pressure that we got up the middle with Quinnen Williams, with Kenny Clark, with Osa Digizua. So if we can nullify the run game like we've done successfully for 2 games, I don't care about the opponent. Now it's down to Patrick Mahomes being able to consistently drop back and find open receivers, including Travis Kelce, who has been tagged as one of the greatest tight ends ever. I'm still not putting him over Anthony Gonzalez. I don't give a crap what you say. Today's NFL is predicated and built around a guy like Travis Kelce being able to get open. In that NFL, it was not the same. That was not the norm or the standard. The running back was king during that time, and your receivers were secondary, and then your tight ends. Anthony Gonzalez completely rewired the way the game was played at tight end, and I'm not giving Travis Kelce that. I don't give a crap who you are, what you think. What do you get out of saying this is AI? I ain't gonna lie. Y'all may be bots. It's weird, but what do you get out of saying this is AI? Like, cool. Hit the like the new AI channel. Maybe that's love to me. Am I articulating and orating in a way that would make you believe that this is AI? I guess. Neither here nor there, though. Anyway, I don't get what you get out of saying this is AI. I mean, is it because of the background? Is it because of quality? I ain't AI though, my boy. I wanted to play like AI when I was young, but definitely not AI. So anyway, I believe that the Cowboys win to the tune of something like 21-17, 23-17. I believe that maybe you have to actually get a last minute stop to seal this game. I believe that the Cowboys find a way to get their offense going a little better, not because it equals more points, but maybe more of a consistent flow and move of the ball. Maybe there are more kicks by Brandon Aubrey than touchdowns scored. Both teams are coming off a short week. But I think there's a recipe for finding a way to slow down this Kansas City Chiefs offense. You definitely have to shell, do more zone, and force Patrick Mahomes to start finding holes within that zone. Now, Trevon Diggs may have an opportunity to come back. I don't know if that helps this team or hurts it, but I do believe as long as Kalen Carson isn't having some season-ending injury, that Kalen Carson, Siobhan Reveille, and Deron Bland at corner are starting to find a way as young corners to gel together. Not gonna lie to y'all, at safety, Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, they are liabilities. So as long as we can keep things in front of us, because we know the MO we talk about as Xavier Worthy, which he might be still hurt. You talk about the kid, I think his name is Thompson. I don't know their receivers like that. I know them, but their names are skipping me. It's not about them. They're all speedsters. They all find a way to get open down the field. What we've done well is not give up the big down the play fields the last two games. Not that they haven't gashed us for 10, 15 yards or something like that, but the over-the-top easy touchdowns, we have to nullify that in this game. And if we do, I believe that it gives Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, Osa Digizua. If I don't know if Jadeveon Clowney is actually healthy because he did get hurt in that game. What's his name? Periwinkle or Perry Winfrey, whatever his name is. Those guys, it gives them an opportunity to bring that pressure. Don't forget about Donovan Ezaraku. We have the ability now with this newfound defense and this consistent, hopefully more consistent offense to find a flow to be able to win this game. Now we're looking at 6-5-1, looking to now go to Ford Field against the Detroit Lions to try to exercise some demons against a team that's looking real beatable. Your Philadelphia Eagles just held that team to under 10 points or something like that. So I'm not saying we're the Philadelphia Eagles defense, but I am saying we put up 24 points against that same team. So yes, there's a chance. And I didn't want to say it too early, because at first we needed to get a win against the Philadelphia Eagles. But I'm not scared of none of these teams, y'all. Not to say that we can't lose, because we can lose. I'm just not scared of the Chiefs, bruh. I'm not scared of the Lions. They're not looking like the same team without their offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, over there in Chicago, who's got them. How are we feeling about that Chicago loss now? How are we feeling about that Carolina loss now? They're losing still in the fourth quarter. They're down 17-9 to the 49ers. But how are we feeling about that loss? Those losses? Because those are appearing to be quality opponents now. Not saying that it makes it okay, but they're not the scum of the earth that we thought they were going to be. You know, you should have beat Carolina. Okay, cool. 3 of those losses, and even if, here's the thing, this is why you can't get into the ifs game, right? Because if you change up your play calling against Green Bay, it's a win. Carolina's the game that it's like it was just out of hand. Denver was just out of hand. Any of those other games, I could find a pocket where it's like, man, we should have came away with a win here. Arizona, how does Jacoby Brissett end up being able to do what he did against us? It's actually quite laughable. So I don't like to play the if game because a lot of those games, this team could look a lot different. Here's what we can control. Moving forward, you control your destiny because you play the games, and there's enough of them left that you can end up 10-6-1, 11-5-1, at worst case scenario, 9-7-1. You probably don't make the playoffs if you end up 9-7-1. And then some people would argue, what's the point of even trying to win all these games if you don't really get a chance to make the playoffs? But that's neither here nor there. So if we don't have any comments, I got a few more thoughts and we're going to get you out of here, man. I appreciate everybody who's been rocking with the kid. Make sure you hit the like button. Thank you once again. Let me get old buddy that was hating out of here. I don't know. Somebody was AI. But here's my final thoughts. I'm impressed by your Cowboys, but I am worried at the same time. Shout out to OT Genesis. I do believe that this team has the ability to do something that we haven't seen in a long time. They would be primed for a playoff run if they would, in fact, be able to make the playoffs. We just got to keep it real here. There's that thing. It's this thing called Mo. That Mo get the rolling, the momentum, and it can make an impact on how we look at this, at how they are able to execute and perform. So I'm impressed, but I'm worried because this is the Cowboys. They're making us believe again. The Cowboys are making us believe that they can actually do what everybody wanted to count them out as far as putting wins together, actually gelling as a team, actually fighting through adversity, whether that's the loss of a teammate, whether that's going against a tough strength of schedule. It sucks that you can lose to a team like Arizona, you can lose to a team like Carolina, you can lose to the Bears, but then beat the Eagles. That sucks. But this is where we're at. Here's my issue, though, in them making us believe again. When we believe, they drink the Kool-Aid. And when they drink the Kool-Aid, they underperform. They go out there and lay eggs. Historically, over the past 30 years, they've meandered in mediocrity. They've turned into the pumpkin at 12 o'clock. Right when you believe that they're ready to turn the corner. It is my hope that your Dallas Cowboys can find a way to squeak out a win. And that's 3 games in 12 days. You then get some rest. You get technically a 10-day rest because you go from Thursday to playing another Thursday. I mean, yes, you will play again that Thursday. So Thursday off that whole week and then go back to Thursday. So you actually get like another mini bye to kind of rest up and heal. But we shall see. I do believe your Cowboys get it done. I appreciate everybody for tuning in to You Gonna Get These Sports, bruh. Please, oh, please make sure you share, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to come get these sports. Thank you for watching the Mind of a Man Network. I am your host, Anthony Moore, Ant Mo, for those of you who may not know for sure. And as I end every podcast, listen, man, life is hard enough. So don't just live elevated. Until next time, I love you, man. I love you. May the Lord keep you. And I'll see you next week. Y'all be easy. Why now? Appreciate that. Great show. Great show. Appreciate you, Ms. Reese. Faithful few. Y'all have a great night. Peace.